Namaskar, I am Sushil Dhanuka and have been associated with Thai Bharat Cultural Lodge since 1984. This association is the oldest association in Thailand, which is working as a bridge between India and Thailand. And it is run by both Thai and Indian nationals. This association was brainchild of Sri Guru Rabindranath Tagore, who, after his visit to Bangkok in 1927, he felt strongly that an association should be established in Thailand, which will work to bring the cultural relation in between these two great countries more closer. Because he felt strongly in this, he sent a scholar, Sri Swami Satyanand Puriji, from India. Swamiji stayed here up to his last breath and established the Thai Bharat Cultural Lodge with the help of the local Indian community. He was mainly assisted in this by Sri Raghunath Sharma. In 1941, Swami Satyanand Puri wanted to help with the Indian freedom struggle. He formed the Indian National Council with the help of Thai Bharat Cultural Lodge and the local Indian community for this cause. He was the founding president of this council. He started lots of activities toward the freedom struggle of India. In 1943, Netaji Subhash Bose arrived in Singapore from Germany, by which time the Indian Independence League was already active in Southeast Asia, whose leader was Ras Bihari Bose. Ras Bihari Bose at that time was stationed in Japan. In a very short time, Netaji Subhash Bose was made president of this league and Indian National Army, which is called INA. With the efforts of Netaji and the Japanese, he formed a strong army of 30,000 soldiers. These soldiers were Indian POWs serving in British India Army and were being held captive in Singapore. The daily practice and exercise of this army were held at Sanam Luang here in Bangkok also. The Indian business community of Bangkok, including Hindus, Sikhs and Namdaris and all sorts of other Indian nationals, helped wholeheartedly by giving money to Netaji for this noble cause. Netaji also formed the Balak Sena, whose main job was to distribute pamphlets and the information from the British Army and to work as a communication link between the INA and the British Army. The details of this Balak Sena will be given to you by Mr. Rakesh Mata. Netaji also started broadcasting news of freedom struggle by establishing a radio station called Azad Hind Radio. The news and contents was beamed to India and made available to audience there. Netaji in his broadcast messages repeatedly appealed to Indians to support the INA and to help bring down the fall of the British Empire. He also warned that those who supported the British Army were rendering disservice to their motherland. Netaji gave us the famous slogan, Chalo Delhi, which means let's go to Delhi. And tum mujhe khoon do, main tumhe azadi dunga. Meaning, you give me blood and I will give you freedom. Such slogans encourage the Indian community to contribute by tan, man, dhan. Means by body, by mind and wealth. Lesser known is the fact that he popularized the use of Jai Hind instead of any other greeting. This greeting is still used today when two Indians meet in Bangkok. Netaji was a great son of India who sacrificed his whole life to liberate India from the British. We Indians living in Thailand feel proud that Netaji lived here and that the Indian community of Thailand had contributed towards the freedom of India. Jai Hind, Namaste.
Namaste and Jai Hind. My name is Rakesh Mata. I'm the second generation of Indian born in Thailand, in my family. My kids are the third. I'm presently the secretary of Thai Bharat Cultural Lodge, an organization established in 1940 by Swami Satyanand Puri. This organization is to create and build the close relationship between India and Thailand. Well, today I'm going to talk to you about Subhash Chandra Bose, Netaji. Maybe many of you will think, how come I'm going to talk about him? I mean, actually, I don't know much about him. I'm going to talk to you about Subhash Chandra Bose, Netaji, through the eyes and experience with Netaji of my father. My father used to tell me how he traveled from India to Thailand with his aunt and uncle, taking about 3 weeks to travel. He had a special love and admiration for Neta Subhash Chandra Bose. I used to remember when I was very young, he used to celebrate Netaji's birthday every year at Thai Bharat Cultural Lodge on the 23rd of January. Well, on that same day was my sister's birthday in the family. He will never forget Netaji's birthday because he has to go celebrate in Thai Bharat Cultural Lodge. But he needed to be reminded that on that day was his daughter's birthday too. Netaji had made many special visits to Thailand to talk about his independence ideas and plans. So in one of those visits, my father had a chance to go to the stage and speak a poem, a patriotic poem, after which he was received by a very loud applause. And after reciting the poem, he requested Netaji by saying that just because he's young, below 18, why can't he be of service to his country? Why can't a boy below the age of 18 do something for his country, to serve his country? Netaji was very impressed. And 15 days after that, he had asked the Indian National Army to organize Balak Sena. Balak Sena was meant for boys below 18 years of age. So, a day before the military camp was going to be organized at Chonburi, a town about 150 kilometers away from Bangkok. My uncle and my aunt came to know that my father was planning to go to the camp. So they locked him in his room on the second floor from the outside. In the morning, when he was ready to go, he realized that his room was locked from the outside. And being on the second floor, there was no other chances to go out. So only through the window. And the window, there were bars on the window. And he told me, I don't know from where he got the strength. He pulled the bars apart. And he slipped through the bars. He was very thin at that age. And he jumped from the second floor down onto the ground floor. And having checked his legs and everything was okay, he ran outside before his uncle and auntie came to know. So with very few paisa or satangs in his pocket, he could hardly go far in a public transport. So after getting down from a public transport, he had to run through the fields, cross the canals by walking over water pipes, balancing it, or otherwise he would fall into the canal. He reached slightly late and his friends were worried. When he arrived, his friends were very happy and shouted, "Gandhi, Gandhi." He was very warmly welcomed and proceeded to the camp. A few days later, his aunt and uncle visited him. The duty of Balak Sena was to create patriotism among the soldiers, British soldiers, among the Indian soldiers who were serving the British Empire in Thailand, and to create patriotism among the local Indians living in Thailand. My father was involved in making pamphlets, printing the pamphlets with his friends and distributing it to the people, the Indians, putting on the shops, putting on the walls of the shops with the photo of Subhash, Netaji saluting the Indian flag and written there Jai Hind. And some pamphlets written in patriotic poetry, things like that. So all things has to be done underground, hidden from the eyes of the Britishers. So they needed money for this. What they did was they had agreement with the Indian soldiers who were staying in the British camps, serving the British camps. The Indian soldiers used to bring things from the British camp in which they would go and sell and divide the money between the Indian soldier and the underground movement. The printing charges for the pamphlets was very high, as it was a great risk of getting caught. So the owner of the printing factory also had asked the boys who were printing the pamphlets and the Balak Sena to make a promise that they will never reveal the name of the printer. And it's like my father used to tell me, like they have to cut the finger and take the blood, put it on the Indian flag. It's like in the movies, that you will never reveal the name of the printer. On some occasions, to get more money, they cooperated with the Indian soldiers and the local truck drivers. They took the trucks, went to the British camp in the middle of the night, broke down the door, opened the door with the help of the Indian soldier there, and they used to steal the goods from the camp, put it on a truck, and go and sell locally in the market, and divide half to the truck drivers and half to the cause, the Balak Sena cause, to print the process underground. One day he was caught. The British soldiers came to know that he was behind, or one of the leaders printing all these pamphlets. So, with soldiers and some Britishers, they came over to my dad's uncle's shop, and they took him for interrogation. He was jailed for 4 nights, and I think that time his age was about 13. And they had asked him a lot of questions about to reveal the name of the printer, to reveal the name of his friends, but he never revealed. Finally, he had told them bluntly that maximum you can do to me is kill me, but I will never reveal you the name. So it's fruitless for you to torture me. Finally, after a few hours, they let him go. As he left the detention place, he saw that some of his friends all gathered, about 15-20 of his friends gathered around, and they were shouting slogans against the Britishers and asking them to release Gandhi. That's a nickname for my father. The love for his country and the thought of what he did for his country and the experience he had with Netaji and the love for him, that's what kept him happy and joyful even in the last days of his life. Thank you.